Hi, Tracy here with USAKnifemaker.com, Midwest Knife Maker Supply. Today we're going to run through making a quick kydex, concealex, bolt-to-run, thermal molding sheath out of that type of material. Got our knife here. The edge hasn't been sharpened yet. Generally I don't put an edge on any of my knives until the very last thing after the sheath is made, just a lot safer that way. And so we've got that. Let's walk through a few tools. We'll start with a typical wood vise. You can get these from different supply places. I would bolt this on to my bench whenever I needed it, and for space I would unbolt it and put it under the counter, whatever. Now I have for some 1-inch plywood here. And then for the press material, I went to Walmart and bought camping foam. You can buy a big roll. It's in the sporting goods. It's what you, if you go out camping, this is a piece of foam that you would use for camping. And now this typical wood vise has a quick release. You would put the whole knife in there with the sheath and all that, clamp it shut, hold it for a little bit, and there you go. So that's one method there. What I've done since is I now use, get that out of the way, a homemade kydex press. I use 1-inch neoprene. Now this stuff is, it just takes a better print, holds up to the heat better than the pads, than the camping pads. I just tend to prefer it. And it'll give you a lot better impression, and it holds up to the heat longer than the other. This is just a homemade press, 1-inch plywood, and 1-inch plywood base, and it's about 12 by 20 in size. The dimensions really don't matter that much. Go to knifedogs.com, and there's a tutorial on building that in the forums there. Basically, it's 1-inch plywood, 12 by 20 again, 3 pieces stacked up there. Big old door hinges right there. These 3 pieces are just screwed on and stacked up, screwed and glued right there. Another big piece there, looks like 12 by 12. Your foam goes in the press loose because you want to change it out. You would put your knife in there just like that, wrapped around with kydex, put that down and squeeze it. Now I have a pretty low tech way. Normally I use a big wood clamp, one of the hand clamps, and of course I've misplaced it. So now use a little paracord, push down, use a little paracord, and I mean you're not talking about that long a time. Press down as hard, let the paracord hold it, and 45 seconds later, a minute later, depending upon how much heat the foam has on it, should be cool enough to take out. And there you go. So that's 2 different methods of pressing the kydex. For heating it up, I have a traditional big old fry pan. And again, I got this at Walmart. It says Presto on it. So big old fry pan. I used to use a heat gun, the traditional paint heat gun, that kind of thing, and you would go all over. This is just easier. You turn it up to 180, that kind of thing, and then just keep building up temperature from there until it gets pliable for you, and we'll show you that in the video. But it's big enough for that, and I just turn it on and get to the right temperature through trial and error, and find out what temperature the kydex wants to work with today, and I'll just leave it at that. And when I'm getting ready, I'll put a piece of kydex on there and turn it upside down or flip it around a couple times as it warms up, and when it gets to the right consistency, I guess, I'll take it and squeeze it. Now this happens to be some olive drab kydex that I have, traditional, and this is bolt-to-run in this case. Traditionally, you would get this thermoplastic with a smooth side like this, and then a textured side, and there's all different kinds of textures. This happens to be 093, 092 range, 0900 range, which is generally what you'll find most of these knife sheaths made out of. And what we'll do is we'll just take a good guess what that would be folded over, and we'll just cut out that much, that much right there, and we'll use our metal bandsaw just like we were cutting big piece of metal or sheet plywood. You could get some real heavy duty scissors and clip this out. Whatever it takes. This is not the place to be real stingy with your kydex. Make sure or Concealex, make sure you cut out more than you need, because when it gets time to overlap it, you're never going to get the edges lined up quite right. And saving $1 or so here on this material might end up costing you $5 because your piece is just a little bit too short to squeeze together. Now we're going to be using a small version tech block, and we'll get that mounted onto the back of the sheath. Got that here. So we'll cut that in just a bit. Now, to put the rivets in, this is a typical half-ton arbor press. They're on sale all the time at MSC or Enco. We sell them too if you want to buy one that's drilled. We have these eyelet dies. These eyelets right there. We have these eyelet dies, and that would go on there like that and squeeze down. You can see that it goes in the anvil. We have one mounted in the anvil and just mounts in or out. And that just slips right in. The anvil floats in there loose on purpose in our design. Anvils come with this index pin, and that would necessarily go in the locating hole there. But when we drill these anvils for our customers and sell these pre-drilled, we avoid the pin, because locating an exact center from the ram to the anvil and indexing it to that pin would triple the price. It's crazy to do when you can just line it up by eye. It floats, and you would bring that down and squeeze it. On the back side, I write just in magic marker, Sharpie, how it's supposed to go. Index pin goes up. The sandwich of material would go in between, and you can see the eyelet goes down on top of the index pin, and then the ram, of course, brings it down and closes it up. And the finish side is up in this product. So, and we'll see more of that. We'll show you some close-up as we get ready to squeeze some eyelets in here. So, for now, I'm going to cut some kydex or Concealex or Boltron. We'll call it Boltron right now, and we'll get started on this. For the knife, so go ahead and cut. At this point, most of that's going to be scrap. I've got my fry pan on, and we're going to put the smooth side down. If we put the textured side down too long on the fry pan, it'll tend to glaze over and remove some of the texture. You want to protect that. That's what's going to be outside on the sheath, and you don't want any scratches or glaze marks on there, because that will show up later on. So we'll just put that on there for now and start that to warm up, and we'll watch the temperature, and when it gets the right consistency, we'll just keep raising the temperature until it gets to where we want to be. Now, normally this gets to about 280 degrees when it gets pliable, around that, and if you get much over 300, it starts to smoke and burn and create issues. So I'll start at 200. Again, it's going to depend on the material. There's all different kinds of types of this thermal molding. There's kydex, which is a trademark name. Concealex is a marketing term that someone came up with some time ago. Boltron is another term or another trademark for thermal molding type plastic, and there's dozens of different formulations out there of this material and trademarks, and it kind of all works out the same. You will find some tends to mold a little bit better than others. So at this point, our concern now is to get that up to temp, and we're going to let that warm up, and we'll get to the right temperature. Now, in the meantime, what we're going to do is we're going to take this knife and we're going to wrap it, this part, the blade, with some layers of tape. And the reason we do that is when we mold it, this kydex will actually pick up every mark on this blade and impress it into the material. And so to give just a little bit extra room, we'll add a couple layers of tape on this, and this stuff molds so effectively that if we didn't put those layers of tape on the blade, we would be putting in and out the blade in the sheath, and it would scratch up every time, and this gives it just enough clearance. So we'll go ahead and tape this blade up with a couple layers. Now when we do that, we're going to be real careful with the seams on this. As we tape, we're going to try and avoid any seams showing up or overlapping, because those will actually imprint right onto the blade. So we'll take this, it's starting to warm up, but so we can see, and we'll just lay that on there kind of like that. And we're going to do a couple layers of that way. Back to back, we'll get any wrinkles out, any bubbles out, because believe it or not, those will show up. So we'll put another layer, maybe we'll probably put 2 layers on both sides of this. We'll put it there back to back, and we'll trim it, because any excess again is going to show up in the material, and we don't want that. So so we don't bore you, we're going to take and we're going to put 3 layers back to back all the way, and then we'll trim this around. We'll come back in a minute.